Yes, all right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Kosi's Arsenal podcast. And in this video, we are going to be looking at Ibrahima Konate and Tariq Lamptey. On the other hand, could Arsenal get two defenders, two defensive quality players in the next summer? That's what we're going to be discussing out because there have been so much of rumors around these two, and I think we shouldn't neglect them. Yesterday, I had said that I wouldn't talk about Konate because it looks like Arsenal might not be interested, but Arsenal seem to be very surprising when it comes to transfers these days. So I'm going to offer some time to Ibrahima Konate, and the rest of the video will be focusing on Tariq Lamptey. Fabrizio Romano did confirm, of course, that Arsenal are moving for Tariq Lamptey, and of course, Goal.com and Football London confirming as well that Arsenal will be looking at Ibrahima Konate. So we're going to be discussing that in depth. Smash the like button if you feel like the content is helpful to you, and if you feel such a channel is worth it, please do give it a subscribe there down. It's really means a lot. And go in the comment box and tell me what you think about Ibrahima Konate. I think this video is going to be based on Konate and Lamptey. For one reason, I think Mikel Arteta has a genre of players and a genre of football he wants to play, and the players available at Arsenal cannot fit into that genre of football, and I think that's the reason as to why he wants to change almost the whole setup. In the end, for me, it might look like a complete squad overall, although it's going to happen in bits and bits and bits. So let's get the party started, and we'll start off with Ibrahima Konate. He's a very young defender, very young, very talented, highly rated. He's been playing with Dayot Upamecano and RB Leipzig. Upamecano signed for Bayern Munich at the end of the season. He is going to be joining Bayern Munich, and I think what a signing Bayern Munich have done. At a time when you think their centre-back pairings are aging, they brought in Matt Hummels. I think he offered what he could, but he never became a legend at Bayern. Now they have signed Dayot Upamecano, one of the best defenders for me in world football right now. Very young and has a very bright future ahead of him. I pray everything happens, good for him there at Bayern Munich. So his partner Konate, who has actually been silenced because of the big name Upamecano has created around himself, is now being hunted as the leftover. I don't want to call him a leftover, but he's being hunted as the other option to Dayot Upamecano. And so many clubs will be interested, including Chelsea, including Manchester United, because United have defensive issues and everybody knows that, and including Arsenal. And the big question for me is, why would Arsenal go for Ibrahima Konate with all the defensive options we have? It's a question I asked yesterday, and I'm going to answer it in this one, because I think it's all about Mikel Arteta's way of lining up. It's all about Mikel Arteta's blueprint, and I think that's why he's changing his backup, his defensive options day in, day out. He's trying to find that pair that can play the kind of football he wants, because first and foremost he wants a player who's confident enough to play from the back, and that's why he never leaves David Luiz on the bench when he has a chance. And I think Rob Holding, Gabriel Magalhaes, Pablo Mari, all of those cannot give him what he needs, and I think that's why he wants to go for a player like Ibrahima Konate, because Konate, what Konate gives you, and if you've been watching RB Leipzig, you understand this, is he can play well with a player like Gabriel Magalhaes, because Magalhaes is good at going forward, and Konate could be that defensive assurance behind the midfield and Gabriel Magalhaes when he goes forward. And I think this is why he needs Konate, because the quality Konate produces and he gives you is so different from what Rob Holding gives you, is so different from what Pablo Mari gives you. If you're going to build your defense around Gabriel Magalhaes or around a player like William Saliba, because all of those are ball traveling centre backs, and then you need a player like Konate. One, he has confidence, he's strong, good game reading, passing is okay. So you need a player like, you know, Konate. You need someone, you know, you need a defensive partner to Gabriel Magalhaes, who actually is the opposite for complementarity, and I think he can complement Gabriel Magalhaes well, other than, you know, Rob Holding or Pablo Mari. And I think that's the reason as to why we might go for Konate. And the biggest question in this one is, can we actually, you know, afford Konate? Because I think it's going to be around 35 or 45 million pounds. Is Arsenal going to spend this after announcing that we have, you know, we made a 48 million loss in the last financial year? Could we actually, you know, luxuriously? Because for me, this is a luxury. You know, if you sign Konate, you have William Saliba, you have Rob Holding, you have Pablo Mari, and Gabriel Magalhaes. Is it, you know, necessary for us to go for another centre back? I might say it's a luxury, but his quality is better than what we have, and if you want to build Arsenal back to you know, the heights and the level, you know, all of us assume it should be, then you know, you've got to get such, you know, quality, you know, such quality in. You need such, you know, you need such talents, and I do not disagree with Mikel Arteta. If he's trying to build a massive project to, you know, to compete for Champions League, to compete for the Premier League, then you've got to, you know, have players like Konate. But that also means you have to let some players go. Pablo Mari will definitely have to leave. Or Rob Holding or Chambers, I think, you know, those ones will have to leave, and David Luiz as well. So I think, let us see how things happen. I don't believe Konate will join Arsenal. I just don't feel it. But, you know, I don't want to be so negative, because, you know, whenever you're negative, you know, it becomes a little bit boring. I don't want to sound like a Tottenham Hotspur fan. I really like Konate. I would like to see Arsenal line up in a way you have Konate and Gabriel Magalhaes, or Konate and Pablo Mari. It really makes a lot of sense. And when it comes, I think he can be the main man in that defense. And we need some leadership. We need a leader. We need leadership on that pitch. One of the problems we are suffering as Arsenal, we lack leadership. And I'll do a video. Actually, let me note it down here before I continue. We need to do a video about Arsenal and the lack of leadership in this team, because Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, for Christ's sake, why is he a captain at Arsenal? Why is he a leader? You know, I think the only person who tries to give us that sense of leadership, that element of leadership, is Thomas Partey when he steps on that pitch, or David Luiz. I think those are the only two players, and I think Konate would actually give us something like that. So let us see how things, you know, man up. But last week, Fabrizio Romano also had confirmed that Arsenal will be going for the signature of Tariq Lamptey in the summer, and many people have been telling me, Kosi, what do you think about Tariq Lamptey? I think I've offered my thoughts on Hector Bellerin, and I've already said that if Arsenal need or want to, you know, move from one step to another, there are some difficult decisions we have to make. One, let Hector Bellerin go. That's a difficult one, especially considering his, you know, his relationship with Mikel Arteta, and Arteta said it before, that one of the things that are so hard is when you have that, you know, special relationship between you and the player. It becomes very, very hard. It becomes so weird, you know, and, you know, I think him and Hector are having that kind of relationship. But I think you need to let Hector Bellerin go. He's not good enough. You need to let players like Cedric go. They're not good enough, and you need to bring in new energy, new talent. What I like about Tariq Lamptey, one, his crossing is okay. You know, his crosses are accurate. But for me, I think the defensive part of his game is so much advanced than that of Hector Bellerin and that of Cedric actually combined. And that's why I like him. Just 20 years of age. I don't know if Brighton are going to survive relegation, but if they do not survive relegation, it's going to become, you know, very, very cheap. And I really do like, you know, cheap deals, because I'm an Arsenal fan. But I think why I like Lamptey is he gets away from Chelsea, he comes to Brighton, and he still proves to be that important player, that good talent that, you know, Chelsea failed to see. And I think Chelsea are going to become very, very fuming with themselves if Tariq Lamptey ever joined a club like Manchester City or Arsenal, or Manchester United, and became a success. Because I want to compare him to a player like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but Bissaka is so awful going forward. And any Manchester United fan will tell you that unless Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you know, improves his game going forward, he's so awful going forward, but very good defensive wise. And what Lamptey gives you is he's good going forward, and he is good defensive wise. So he's able to strike a balance between those two areas of his game, and that is what you've got to do as a young player. Because he's competing with players like Max Aarons, he's competing, with players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, for the English shot. And if you're going to get it, if you're going to get a number one spot, or even a spot on the bench, or on England, you've got to be so good. And I think Bissaka is going to become, disappointed, because players like Aarons, players like Lamptey are going to be ahead of him. The reason is Lamptey has that, that strikes that balance between offensive and defensive, and Bissaka has failed to do that. But I don't know. It's a deal that I feel could be in the pipeline if Arsenal are serious about it. It could happen if Arsenal are serious about it, because I think Lamptey is a good player, very good, very talented, massively talented, and Arsenal are in need, and I think he might not be very expensive. You could get him at less than 30 million, of course, considering that the market prices have become mad. 80 million is becoming like something like a minimum. So if you get Tariq Lamptey at 25 million. For me, it's a good deal. It's a very good deal, and it's a nice one. I want to see Tariq Lamptey in, bearing up. But tell me what you think about that in the comment box, and I'll be taking your comments in the next video.